Hey, everybody, it's Courtney Bowden here. I'm here with Coach P, Precious Bivings. And you know what? This is a special edition of the Think Like a Thought Leader show. This is an more of a spontaneous conversation. Um, Precious and I have been having a dialogue, and we thought that it was necessary for us to show up here today to talk through some things, to talk about how we can raise the collective vibration for the culture.
Yeah.
So be very clear, we're going to talk to Black people today.
Absolutely.
And so if you are watching right now, if this is coming across your timeline, go ahead, click that share button, tag somebody. If you want to hear messages of uplift, we're not pacifying, right? We're gonna give you the real raw rap.
Absolutely.
But we want to hold space for some healing conversations because they're much overdue. So how you doing today, Precious?
I am I'm optimistic. I am rooted and grounded. I'm sad. I'm frustrated. I felt anger. I'm holding space. I'm providing clarity, support, love, and honor to my brothers and my sisters. But more importantly, like, I am excited that although things look crazy right now, it is not, it is not the end all to be all. And so I am good. With all of that said, I am good.
Well, good. I think, you and I both live in the Metro Atlanta area.
Mm-hmm.
We actually live like almost right around the corner from one another. And so we have both been seeing what's been happening here and also in other cities. And last night I commented that Atlanta is burning. It is burning in more ways than one. And so other cities are, and I, we're having a conversation tomorrow with a pastor out of Chicago to talk about how we can really navigate these turbulent times using faith and wisdom. But with you, Precious, I really love like your energy. I really love how you approach all of this. So talk about the things that you've been processing. Because I think that based off of the private conversations that we've had, I think a lot of people are asking some of the same questions, feeling some of the same feelings. And this is a good time for us to talk about it.
Yeah. So first things first, thank you for saying yes to this conversation. Thank you for having me on as on Think Like a Thoughtpreneur. When I think like a leader, where I got thoughtpreneur from.
I like that though. It has a ring to it.
My thoughts are, there's so many. So the first thing is, when I thought about having a conversation, I wanted to have it with someone who I could unpack this journey with. It's super easy to point finger and be upset within our own community. And I wanted to make sure that we understood that even though things look crazy, we are going higher. And it's easy to, be frustrated with the rioting and the looting and all that stuff. But where there is absent leadership, there will be, destruction and abandon and a loss of morals. And so I believe that, number one, it's important for us to hold space for each other. What I've been saying in every community that I've been speaking in is that we have an opportunity to show up in this space to own and honor us. I know on the news and in the media and everywhere else, it looks like we are not moving forward, like we are not going higher, we are not evolving, but we are. And so, I've been seeing a lot of comments from us about how to handle this and what to do. And I know a lot of people feel helpless. A lot of people feel like, well, I'm not rioting. I'm not, outside with a sign. I'm not a part of, this organization or that organization. And a lot of people feel helpless. And it's easy to feel helpless when you don't understand how amazing and brilliant your gift is and how that gift is a direct contribution to our raising, to the raising of our vibrational level in our culture. When all of this happened with Ahmaud Arbery, I definitely, you know, from Trayvon to Mike Brown to Fidel to all these other things that happened prior to Sandra Bland, like all these other things that happened prior to all of this in our lifetime, I felt the effects of it because these are my brothers and sisters, the people who look like me, talk like me, walk like me. The industry that I'm in is wellness. It is mindset performance. It is personal development. So I always found myself in this space of trying to figure out, man, where do I belong? What do I do? I'm angry. Is it okay for me to be angry? I'm pissed. I'm frustrated. Is it okay for me to be frustrated? Is it okay for me not to have the answers? Is it okay for me not to know what to do? And so being able to honor, you know, not just my brand or my role and responsibility, but first and foremost, my humanity. Being able to honor my Blackness, being able to honor who I am in my totality before I ever showed up in a position to serve and support other people was paramount, important, and empowering for me. And so I was able to sit in prayer, really, in meditation, like, God, what's up? Like, what are we to do in this space? What is our next move? How are we supposed to move forward in this? And me asking, like, what's up, brought me to a space of awareness. That what I am doing now in terms of providing, right, healing, first of all, doing the work to heal myself, doing the work to honor, you know, the mother I am as a mother to a beautiful Black girl, being able to educate her and remind her every single day and teach her and instill in her that she is not anybody's competition, that she doesn't have to be better than them or smarter than them or any of those things, that all she has to do is show up and be her best, to teach her that she's entitled to the absolute best that life has to offer, that she's entitled to take up space. She's entitled to shine bright, to show up in a space as a thought leader, and educate and provide safe space for us to grieve, to be frustrated, to be hurt, but also to heal, to recover, and to go higher is one of my greatest contributions. So it doesn't look like what you see on news. It doesn't look like me being at the forefront, but it absolutely is making a difference.
I love that. And, you know, this is what resistance looks like as well. To your earlier point, I think that a lot of people have this preconceived notion of what resistance is. And I know that also that word resistance also is very packed with a lot of meaning, but I mean it in the highest way possible, right? In the most positive way possible. It is important for us to exhibit resistance to anything that is against our greatest and highest good. That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about resistance. Okay. I'm not, you know, and resistance can take various forms. And you're right, Precious. I think that is why I believe that it is my responsibility as a member of the media to create spaces like this where we can have these conversations that people can tune into, because you know, this is part of the work. And what I want to encourage those who are watching and those who watch the show and who consider themselves to be thought leaders, and entrepreneurs is that not only should you give yourself space to heal and do all of the things that Precious said, but also give yourself permission to recognize what you're already doing. You said something when you talked about your educating your daughter around how she doesn't have to be anybody's competition, and how, you know, she shouldn't have to work twice as hard to get as far. And so that is the work too, right? Dismantling a lot of these lessons that we learned, in these survival tactics that we learned in order to get to this point. Now it's time to really open up to something new. And that's what I think is the beauty of this next generation is, you know, they're being taught by mothers like you to say, I'm entitled. I am entitled. I'm entitled to freedom. I'm entitled to be able to embody the fullness of my identities. you know? So I think that's amazing. And, you know, I really want to celebrate you and salute you and others who are doing that as well. So what can we do? What are we to do? I've been having conversations like this with my friends privately. Like, I've been on the phone. I've been talking on the phone more than I'm on social media. Y'all know I'm on social media.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
You know, we're having some of these powerful conversations. Our minds are being stretched, our souls are being filled, and we're coming together in community. And I think it's really beautiful. And in the midst of what looks ugly, what is ugly, not just looks ugly, what is ugly, we are able to do this. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think ultimately, like showing up in this space of knowing, right? Knowing that even though it is crazy right now, sometimes things have to be, you know, get to a breaking point and actually break in order for it to be rebuilt and better. And so I would say show up in this space of honoring what you already are gifted to do. What is your genius? What are you good at? What is your thing that you already excel at? Continue to excel at your highest in that, and then continue to do your personal development work. I believe that white racism is a white person's problem. That is not our burden to bear.
Say that again. Please say that again for the folks in the back.
Absolutely. White racism is a white person's problem. That is not our problem to fix. And so because that's not our problem to fix, don't spend energy posting stuff like stop killing us. Because if they were rational enough to stop killing us, they wouldn't have killed us. You know, if they had the capacity, the emotional maturity to show up in this space of honoring the differences and clearing out and healing from their own fear and their own guilt from the decisions they've made many, many years ago, then this wouldn't even be a conversation to be had. But I would say continue to show up in the best space that you know possible. I have no judgments toward the young people who feel that their energy is better spent to protest. I have no judgment against anybody who is doing their best to aid the problem. I think that as leaders, we got to show up and give way on what people can do next. And I consider myself a leader. I know I am a leader. And so what I'm saying is my offering is to, first of all, use this energy to pull back and figure out within your space, what can I do to show up for me and my family, not to show up differently, better, so that you can be accepted by another society.
I love that. I love that.
So that you can stay out of the way, not to show up so that you know how to behave when the police pull you over. That ain't it. I'm talking about raising our cultural vibration as a collective. I'm talking about us seeing ourselves so worthy and so high that to the least of them, when we think about systemic racism, when we think about corporate experiencing racism in your corporations, when we think about continuing to shop and get our nails done and buy hair from places that don't serve and support us, I'm talking about really sitting back and figuring out, how can I start to impart my energy toward and for the benefit of my people? I was having a conversation with my daughter last night, and I said, I have this love for all people. I love culture. I love diversity. I love all of that. But when you think about Black people, because I am Black, I absolutely have a special affinity for me and people who look like me. And there is no reason to have guilt in that, right? That doesn't take away from the love that you have for other cultures and other people, right? Because we are in abundance and we have the capacity to be in love and light on a large scale, right? But me loving myself especially doesn't take away from the love that I have for you. If me and you are in a family, right? And we talk about me and you being sisters, and somebody who has a different last name, my love and affinity for them is going to be quite different than my love for you, because me and you have a special sharing. It's no different than in Black culture, white culture, Asian culture, Hispanic culture, Native American culture. There's a special affinity for your own kind that does not take away from your affinity for other people. And it's okay to stand up in the pride of that. And I think for the first time in a long time, we're giving ourselves permission to show up in that space of saying, I don't have to choose to either love me or love you. I don't have to choose to love my people or love you. I don't have to choose to say Black lives matter or all lives matter. Right now, this is not an all lives matter situation. Right now,
Come
this is a
on.
Black Lives Matter situation because Black people are the ones who are predominantly being affected by this issue. So that in itself makes it a Black issue. And if you care about me, white friend, Hispanic friend, Native American friend, any other culture, color friend, then you would take that into consideration as you show up and hold space for me. And so for me, that is the important part that has to be shared, that I'm so proud of us that we're finally showing up, not finally, but for the first time in a long time. Let me correct that we are showing up in this space, more of us, because I know there've been some of us who've been showing up in this space from the beginning.
Yeah.
But more
Yeah.
of us are showing up in this space and giving ourselves permission to say, absolutely, I have pride for me and I still got love for you. And I have a special affinity, just like if you were in my family with my same last name. Yes, I'm going to call Courtney sis because we share a certain thing. We got jokes we never met before, but we got the same auntie jokes, same mama jokes,
Yeah.
same when the street lights come on jokes.
That's
We
it.
got to honor that. That's special and it's
That's
unique.
it.
And so as we do that, I think it's important for us to know that we get to. And I love taking pride in doing so.
We do get to. And it no longer has to be hidden. It no longer has to be clandestine. So I love it. I love it. Like I tell people, like I'm Black AF, okay? And if you have an issue with that, whether you are, you know, a part of my cultural and ethnic identity or nah, you're gonna get all of this. You're going to get all of this. And so, yes, I think for the first time in a very, very long time, we are unapologetic about it. And, you know, as much as people want to rag on social media, I believe that it has been a tool for us to really catch on to other people's like energy. Like this is a collective energy exchange here.
Absolutely.
Right? And so being able to connect with you and being able to connect with others who look like me, who have, you know, values that align with mine, I'm only strengthened by that. And
Absolutely.
I believe that is part of the reason why we're seeing so many people stand up and be unapologetic about the fact that they are proud to be Black and they, you know, they love their people, and it does not necessarily negate the value of life of anybody else's life. And
Absolutely.
so we say that this is not an all lives matter situation. We said what we said.
Absolutely. And if you honor us, you'd respect that.
Instead of trying to debate it. This is not a debate. We're past the point of debating, okay?
Absolutely.
And so what I have been doing, because this I can only speak for me, Precious.
Sure.
What I've been doing is really doing, like you said, kind of pulling back, going into myself. I have a whole room in my house called the Soul Sanctuary, where I go pray, cry, meditate, write, dance, give myself the freedom to be me fully.
Yeah.
And in that room, I work so many things out within myself, and it has become a healing space for me, you know. And so when we talk about things that we can be doing for ourselves, I love the fact that you talked about how it's not about showing up better, faster, stronger, because a lot of times we're so focused on performance, you know, on being, you know, just stellar. And I love Black excellence. I'm here for Black excellence,
Absolutely.
right? But Black excellence does not mean perfection. It doesn't have to mean perfection. It should mean perfection. And so what I really love about this time that we're in is that, you know, we get to be confused, angry, frustrated, stressed out, you know, proud, jovial. We get to be all of those things because for such a long time, we've only been able to show a portion of that.
Absolutely.
A portion of that was acceptable to white people.
Absolutely.
And now we have been able to take that mask off and say, this is us. This is all of us.
Absolutely. For sure. 100%. And I, you know, I'm just, I'm excited for us that although this is ugly, it's getting better because it's pushing us. It pushed us that happened and this conversation was created. That happened and, you know, we have better understanding, more pride to exude. For every contrasting experience, it births an opportunity for us to get closer to what it is that we do want. And I believe that we are getting better as a result of it because there's such a craving for it. And there are more people who have gained more clarity because these incidents happen back to back. It's easy to ignore it when it happens once a year, once every 6 months, where we see it. Now, it happens more often than that, but when we only see it once a month, once a year. But the fact that these instances happen back to back, it is heartbreaking. It is overwhelming. It is everything that you feel, but it's also a part of building the momentum for this thing to completely break so that we can show up in the fullness of who we are. And so that hopefully for them that they begin to heal. But if they don't, it matters not. Because we have everything that we need inside of us to make amazing shit happen no matter what. We've done it time and time again. We keep rising to the occasion. We keep showing up. We keep evolving. We keep becoming better. We keep healing. We keep growing. We keep going higher. So whatever they decide to do is absolutely their problem, because the truth of the matter is they got to live with that shit. They got to absolutely live with, and that's no different than anybody if you're in an abusive relationship or if you're in a dysfunctional relationship with anybody. You know, you're not going to try to, in the end, you recognize, in the end of that relationship, you recognize that there is absolutely nothing you can do to fix them and to make them change their behavior. In all dysfunctional relationships, you come to that conclusion. You stay in it long enough, you realize, you know what, this shit is not even about me. This shit is not even about us, y'all. This is their shit. And no longer are we going to be apologetic for their ache and their pain and their fear behind their guilt for their decisions toward us. It's like a person cheating on you. You be in a relationship with a person, they cheat on you, and then they get up, then they start to become paranoid. They have fear behind the guilt of them cheating on you. So now they're aggressive. So now they're the victim. So now they're accusing you of exactly what it is that they're doing. It's the exact same thing.
And you know, this show, we named this show this episode "Raising the Vibration for the Culture."
Absolutely.
And this is how it's done, right? You said so much that I just want to dig into it. But I want to go back to this point about leadership, because this show is called Think Like a Thought Leader, and it's geared for those who believe that they are leaders and are leaders. I think that we are in an unprecedented time in that more of us are forced to become our own leader. And to look inward
as we should
for whatever direction that we're going to go, right? It should have been this way the entire time.
As it should be.
But I've been hearing a lot of our elders talk about, well, we don't have a leader. We had King, they killed him. We had Malcolm, they killed him. We had Stokely, they killed him. We had Angela Davis, all of the names, right? But what our responsibility now is to be our own leader, right? And not to elevate one person or persons to this up on this pedestal to where we're looking for their direction. We gotta go in, right? And so we have to give ourselves space enough to do that. And what I had to do, Precious, in order to do that, in order to be able to show up fully right here, unapologetically unbought and unbossed, and saying stuff with my chest, is working stuff out in that soul sanctuary. Not engaging in debate and not trying to appeal to white consciences. Because that's a lost cause for me. I told y'all a couple days ago, I'm done personally trying to educate white people about racial injustice. There's a Google that is still free that can be used to look up what you can do. There's somebody was gracious enough to compile a list of 75 things, and I'm sure that there are more than that are available. And so I've become a little selfish with it. I'm not gonna lie. Going inward, figuring out how I can show up to serve my people, to do this right here. And I see more people doing that without 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 being hesitant about it, without apologizing for it, without being ashamed about it. And I believe that this is going to birth a new sort of paradigm, a new change in us. I feel the shift. I feel like a lot of us have shifted. What do you say to that about, people kind of craving external leadership, but, neglecting to cultivate their own inner leader?
I absolutely understand it. I understand people craving an external leader and having not cultivated their own, because that's the very essence of it. When you haven't done it for yourself, you will start to crave it externally. When you haven't validated yourself, you'll start to look for it from outside validation. When you haven't loved on yourself, you'll start to look for it from outside. So I understand it, but I also know that eventually it becomes problematic, because there's a fork in the road, and there's on top of there being a fork in the road, meaning there's a direction that you're going to have to split and take that's not going to be in alignment with the set leader that you're following. I think a part of that also is understanding that your perspective is unique to you. And when you understand that you have a unique perspective, and you understand that that unique perspective is valuable, worthy, and important, that what you have to say, exactly how you say it, what you're thinking, how things should be done, and exactly how you're thinking how things should be done is important, then you will start to show up in that space. I also believe that everyone isn't a leader, and I'm not mad at that. But I do believe that everyone has a responsibility, to your point, Courtney, to lead themselves, because that is your responsibility. So if that means leading yourself to a leader who is in alignment with your mindset, with your goals, with where you want to go, with how you want to do things in terms of whatever said subject, I think that's great and it's important. But I think it's also important to understand that in doing so, right, when that leader is not in alignment with where it is that you're going, that you are so in alignment with your own internal compass that you don't limit yourself to their perspective, but that you're willing to now, let me do this on my own, because this is different. This is not in alignment with what it is that I want to do and how I want to do it. I think that is also equally important.
Absolutely. 100%. See, okay, look, what's your Cash App? Folk need to they need to drop some coins in your collection plate.
No, I love that. Some people are saying, Courtney, that they can't watch it because it's saying content is unavailable. I don't know if it's because your page is private, maybe.
Oh, you know what? Let me turn this. The platform that we use it only does it for friends. Let me go and turn this on so people can share. Thank you for letting me know about that.
Sure.
Because more people do need to hear what we're saying here. Yep. It's only to my friends. Okay. It's just been made public, y'all. So that is available for wide distribution.
Yeah. I was thinking why the numbers were looking so low. I'm like, I know people want to have this conversation. They're in my inbox. So what are people at? Right. My mama just snuck in my house because she has a key. Mama, you still in here? Oh, it's you, Britt.
I saw those beautiful flowers back there.
Yeah, she just snuck in and brought flowers.
I love that.
I didn't know she was coming.
I love it.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that that part of understanding that, y'all, if you don't have an answer, like, it's okay to not have an answer. It's okay to not know what to do. It's okay to be confused. It's okay to feel like, what the heck? But I also think it's equally okay to pull back and take the time to figure it out. Take the time to figure out what it is that you want to contribute from your own genius, and take the time to figure out, and literally take the time, like, honor your time and space in taking the time. And it's okay. This is for our lifetime, even though this is not new to our culture, for our lifetime, it is new in the way that it's being presented. And I think some of us take that for granted. It's like, well, but we've been dealing with this. We've been going through this. Yeah, we have. But for us to have to be responsible for it is different. For us to have to experience it head on is different. And so being able to honor that part of it is important.
I love that. Delmar says, hello, all. Antoinette Marie says, be your own internal leader. Powerful. So people are definitely resonating with what we're saying here. And so, Precious, I know that you're doing your part, right? Can you talk more about what space you're holding, and how you're actually translating this into the work that you do.
Absolutely. So, like I said in the beginning of our conversation, when the Ahmaud Arbery thing happened, and I keep saying thing happened, but when his life was taken, let me be very clear and specific. That was tough. And just like all the other lives, that one, their lives were equally important, but there was a shift. To your point, me and my daughter was talking about it. We feel it. We feel this energetic shift that's happening amongst us. And I asked God, what is my part? And my part is absolutely continuing to help uplift the vibrational, worthiness and love and healing amongst us as we continue to rise to the occasion. And I think it's important for everyone. Delmar Johnson is an exquisite HR specialist, and she's an entrepreneur, and that's her contribution. She makes sure that she shows up in that space as a powerful Black woman, taking up space, showing us how to lead in our entrepreneurship so that we can be successful. That is a part of her contribution. Lamar Tyler, Ronnie Tyler, who are the creators and CEOs of Tyler New Media and Traffic Sales and Profit, are absolutely showing up in their genius of making sure that they hold space for Black entrepreneurs. Mama, you in my video?
Hey, mama.
Hold space for Black entrepreneurs as they as they continue to rise to the occasion to lead, so that we can create generational wealth within our communities, so that we're not asking for permission, but we're actually showing up and making decisions. You have Carlton Mackey out of Atlanta, who's a good brother of mine, who is the co-founder of Black Men Smile. And he too is a part of the contribution of showing up in this space, of owning and honoring his genius, of making sure that Black men know they have permission to smile, that they should be smiling, and they have something to smile about, and helping us to celebrate our culture. So there's so many different people, Courtney Bowden, who's showing up in this space of Think Like a Thought Leader, who's deciding that I'm going to hold and create space for Black entrepreneurial leaders so that they can have a space in the media to tell their story, honor their truth, and give to the community in this space. So what I suggest is you finding your space, you finding an opportunity to show up in your genius, and you already are doing it. Whatever job you do that you love, whatever skill that you have that you're talented in, you already are doing it. Absolutely. And so amplify that. I know it's easy to feel overwhelmed because you feel like you should be out in the streets fighting and saying something and doing something. So by all means, use your platform as best as you can, as loud as you can, as expensive as you can. Right. But I also would like to add, be intentional, right? In our manifestation, be intentional, get clear about the vision that you want to have. Get clear about what you want to achieve, get clear about what you want to experience in your own lifetime, and let that be in alignment with our collective. That is a contribution. How you heal from your past hurts, how you heal from your mama wounds, your daddy wounds, how you heal from the heartbreak that you experience, how you heal from even this experience is a part of the contribution.
Absolutely. And, Lauryn Hill said, how you gonna win when you ain't right within? Exactly. And so doing that, I think that inner healing will make your actionable contribution, your tactical contribution, so much clearer. I know that was the case for me. And so I think that, I guess that's and all of this, I want to be very clear that this pandemic that we're still in, right? All of these uprisings, but especially the time during the pandemic gave a lot of us, some of us, the opportunity to pause and to really, understand. And so those whispers in your soul, in your spirit, don't take that lightly, because to your point, Precious, that is part of your contribution. I have to be very honest. The other night, I was not okay.
Yeah.
I was not okay. My husband and I, we went out to get some takeout sushi, child, because I was tired of cooking. And I just broke. Like I just broke
Yeah.
and I wept. And I wept because I was so hurt. I
Mhm.
wept because I was so angry. And all I
Yeah.
could say was, oh, I'm so mad. And
Yeah.
even giving myself permission to do that
Yeah.
was cleansing for me. And
Yeah.
so, what I'll say to those who um, have righteous indignation, who have strong feelings
Yeah.
about all of this, those feelings matter.
Absolutely.
And I don't think that we can afford to sweep those things by the wayside or under the rug or suppress them any longer, because it's going to come out one way or another.
Yeah.
And a lot of us for a long time, though, Precious, didn't feel safe, even in our own homes and sacred spaces, doing that. And I'm
Absolutely.
seeing I'm seeing a shift in that as well. More people are talking to me about crying. More people are talking to me about, going to therapy. More people are talking about journaling, and I think it's a very beautiful thing. We're coming back to ourselves, a lot of us, and that is what's going to make us so much more powerful. And
Absolutely.
that is work of
Yeah.
raising the vibration for the
Yeah.
culture.
Yeah.
And when I had my little moment, you know I what made me break was this feeling of pressure, like this burden, that I feel like so many of us feel. And I felt like, man, I know what I'm here to do. I'm very clear on my purpose. I am doing it. I can't deny that, right? But I had this question inside, like, well, what more can I do? What more can I do? I want to do more, feeling like as if I could push through and
Yeah.
save the world and do all
Yeah.
of this. And I had to get real with myself and really get myself together and be like, girl, this is what you're doing. This
Yeah.
is your lane. This is your calling.
Yeah.
Let everybody else figure out what their contribution to the collective is, because
Absolutely.
it's going to come together like a puzzle.
Absolutely. And that's the point. That's the point I'm making at 100%. Like, you're a part of the collective. I was telling some people this morning, Gwen Jameer, who is a CEO boss. This morning, I was telling a few of our thought leaders and our leaders in their respective industries that, as we continue to show up in this space of doing the business of us in this way, with our integrity and with assuming the best of each other and doing all of that work, to your point, it will come together like a puzzle piece. So I'm glad that you had that experience. And yes, more of us are doing the personal development work. We are journaling. We are going to therapy. We are healing. We are releasing the trauma. We no longer have a need to be addicted to the drama. We no longer have a need to be addicted to the emotional pulls and the emotional roller coasters, because we are doing the work. And there's so many of us that are doing the work that oftentimes it get lost, especially in instances like this. Shout out to all of the Black mindset coaches and personal development coaches. Shout out to all the
Yes.
therapists. I have a beautiful Black therapist who absolutely helps to keep my mindset on point so that I can show up and be Coach P and Precious Bivens and mom and daughter and all these other things, And so I think that we are in a beautiful time of opportunity. This, to me, very much so feels like another COVID experience specifically for us. There is this clearing that is happening. And I'm not referring to the lives that have been lost, but there is a clearing of the people who are in our space. We are becoming more clear about what it is that we're supposed to do, how it is that we're supposed to do. We're becoming more clear about the people that we're partnering with. Are they still good allies for us? Are they still good partners for us? We are becoming more clear in all of the ways. And so being able to show up in this space of owning that clarity and really owning this time and space, mourning when you need to mourn, cry when you need to cry, turn off social media when you need to turn off social media, stop having the conversations when you need to stop having the conversations. Be willing to own that space for yourself, because Courtney, to your point, that is how we lead ourselves. And then you can join a collective of leaders We are
Yes.
also clear about the direction, because it's not a situation where you have to have all the answers. That's not fair at all. But it is a situation where you do have the answers for yourself, and being able to show up in this space where you own, that I can do both. I can say that I can say that Black Lives Matter, and I can still have love for you, but I'm gonna hold space for me and the people that look like me, because that is where my affinity is. That is where my heart is. That is where my home is. That is where my love is. That is where my success resides. That is where my smiles are created, my laughs. That is where, the electric slide is. That is where all the good shit is.
Yes.
That has everything to do with us. And it's okay. And it's more than okay. It's necessary for me to hold myself in that high regard, that we don't just, come together when it's a national crisis, but we understand that we're so important that when there's a Black issue, that in itself is a national crisis.
Come
And
on.
that's what's important.
Indeed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who better?
Yeah, because for me, that is the vibrational self-worth that we get to hold ourselves to regard to. That is what my contribution is to remind us that we're just that important. We're important enough to interrupt stuff for. We're important enough to change laws for. We're important enough to say this won't work. Your ache and your pain is validated. It doesn't matter how big or how small. And when you think about it, right, on a grand scale, when we're in the hospital and we say, oh, I'm in labor with a baby and this pain is excruciating, they say it ain't that bad. Just because of who you are. Just because of who you are. But that we allow ourselves not to agree with that narrative, but that we hold ourselves to high regard. You said it earlier, Courtney, the words that we speak matter, right? The words that we say matter. And when we speak, the vibration of our energy makes a difference. And when we show up in this space of being in alignment with the fact that I am beautiful, Black, and 100% worthy, just because I exist, has nothing to do with my education, has nothing to do with my Greek affiliation, has nothing to do with who I'm married to, has nothing to do with how much money I got in the bank, has nothing to do with how many medals or certificates or trophies that I've earned. None of that matters. Just the mere fact that I exist. They used to think that it was okay enough to tear down our character and say, oh, well, yeah, the police officer did shoot him because he or she was doing so and so. I don't give a damn if you caught the person in the act. You don't get to make that decision. You don't get to make that decision. I'm still worthy of being arrested, going to court, and being tried by a jury and a judge. I'm still worthy of that.
Yes. And that's the energy that we're bringing.
Absolutely. That's the energy that we're bringing. And the more that we bring that energy, the more that we hold ourselves to high regard, the more that we go higher in this space, the more that when it comes to us, there's a second thought. Wait a minute. It's not so easy to make these decisions about us because, of course, we aren't making those decisions about ourselves. And so I don't believe, like I said earlier, for everybody who's, just joining me and Courtney, like I don't believe that, white racism is our problem. White racism is a white problem. Black upliftment and Black education and Black love and Black honor and Black respect and all of those things that raise our cultural vibrational worthiness and self-honor and self-love higher, that's on us. And I love that we are contributing to it.
Oh, you know what, Precious? I just adore you. And I'm so glad that we're having this conversation and you are coming back to the show because you always bring the fire, and the way that you articulate it and the way that what I really think that we should do more of is hold nuance, and you do that very, very well. So thank you for putting into words what some people may be feeling. Thank you for illustrating to us what it looks like to raise our vibration for the culture, but most importantly for ourselves, right?
Absolutely 110%. And Courtney, I just want to say thank you to you because you're one of the most articulate Black sisters that I know. That's a high compliment that you paid coming, that I received coming from you, and I appreciate it. And I agree that is a part of my gifting. But I wasn't always so confident. I wasn't always so confident to get a compliment and say, yeah, I agree. Normal, there were times before where I would be like, oh, thank you, I really appreciate it. Humble to a fault, but I know exactly who I am. And so when
Yes.
my sister recognizes my greatness, I can say, I agree. Thank you so much. I can stand in that
Instant.
without feeling
Mhm.
like, well, I mean, I need to show her that I really appreciate. No, you know, I appreciate this. And I appreciate you for recognizing what I already know. And I appreciate you for holding space for who you are and what you already know, which is that you are absolutely one of the most intelligent, brilliant, articulate people in media
Thank you.
who is holding space for us. And I knew that this conversation was important. You called it. You said that I believe that this conversation is going to shift the paradigm for some people, and it absolutely is, because we decided to show up. And I want to encourage leaders. If you're a restaurant leader, that is where you show up. If you're a
Come on.
manager of a McDonald's, you are important and your leadership matters. And how you show up as a leader in McDonald's makes a difference. If you are a leader in your household, you're a stay-at-home parent, no matter if you're a mom or a dad, that position of leadership is important. If you're a leader in high school, you're on a beta club, that position of leadership is important. If you're a
Yes.
CEO of a company, that position of leadership is important. If you're the lead janitor at a cleaning company, right? That position is important. If you're a lead in sanitation, shout out to all the men who make sure that our garbage is picked up every single
Come
day,
on.
right? You're a leader in that position. No matter who you are a leader in that position, right? To your point, Courtney, like we get to lead ourselves and then we get to attach ourselves to a greater, higher level of leadership as we move and go higher and evolve. And I just want us to know, like, there is no position, there is no role and responsibility that doesn't matter. All of them matter. Everything that we do, how we show up in this space of communication. To the Black therapists who don't always get a lot of love, man, I see y'all and I love y'all.
Yes.
And I y'all. Like we all matter in this space. And I think in this space, when I say we all matter, I mean every role that a Black person takes. For those of you who are in drug recovery, you were labeled as a crackhead back in the day, and now you showing up in this space of power because you decide to lead in your own life. You are contributing to raising the vibration of our culture. Thank you for choosing to recover from drugs and alcohol, to show up in this space, to honor in this space. To the mechanics, you are helping our cause, right? To the hotel industry, hospitality, the housekeepers, you are helping our cause. Don't think for 1 minute that your role and responsibility and that the position that you hold is not important because it's not held to importance to somebody else. That shit is absolutely important and it matters, and we thank you.
We're all essential workers.
Absolutely.
We're all essential workers. Shanique says, both of you are excellent models of how to hold space for our people and the different ways we can uplift one another as a collective. Awesome, ladies. Thank you, Shanique. Thank you so much for tuning in. We so appreciate it. Now, Precious, before we get out of here, you are doing something incredible called Renew, right? Can you talk about it?
Yeah, the Renew virtual retreat is sold out. So I just want to go ahead and put that out on Front Street. But I get to, the first thing that's important about what I'm doing is that I get to hold space for some amazing, beautiful, risk-taking, manifesting, life-creating badasses in a community on Facebook called the MASH Collective. MASH stands for Making Amazing Shit Happen. Somebody can type it in the comments below. I see a lot of MASH Collective. Thank you, Courtney, for posting it on the page. And so in that community, we have over 1,100 risk-taking, manifesting, life-creating badasses who have decided to commit to their personal development, who have decided to commit to their going higher, who have decided to commit to living and creating and manifesting, right? Manifesting, desiring, living, and creating a beautiful life experience. And so one of the things that we've been able to do in that community is during this space and time, I decided to create the Renew virtual retreat. And we opened it up for 50 of those risk-taking, manifesting life creators. And before 2 weeks even hit, it was sold out. And so I know that there's a need for it. I know that we all need renewing right now. We all need, an opportunity to be refreshed, to breathe, to recover, to meditate, to be poured into. And so I'm bringing some of my most amazing super friends who are in the health and wellness industry. We have a Reiki specialist. We have a sound bath specialist that's going to be giving some sound bath with the Himalayan bowls and Tibetan bowls. We have a manifestations a manifestation leader and coach. We have a physical fitness leader and coach. One of my favorite yogis is coming. And so you got to come into the MASH Collective to get information. We are at capacity. But if you want more information and you want to stay tuned, hit me up in my inbox, Precious Bivings on Facebook, or join the community. And of course, ask for more information and we will make sure that we give it to you. And most importantly, in September, I'm having an amazing event called MASH Con 2020. It's happening September 11th and 12th here in Atlanta, Georgia. And it's an opportunity for us to get in a physical space and do this work. This is not a business conference. This is not a religious conference. This is a conference specifically for your personal development. And so we focus on 3 areas: your health, your wealth, and your relationships. Because I believe once you get all 3 of those areas in alignment, it is an absolute game changer for how you show up in your life, especially in instances like this. It helps us to go higher and raise our vibration. And so we get to see us in that space better, more, and greater. So
I love that.
What about you, Courtney? What you got going on?
Well, before we jump to me, I need people to know where they can go and learn how to register for MASHCon, because they can't get inside the Renew Retreat. But I know some people are watching this are like, look, whatever Coach P got, I want it. And I can tell you from personal experience, experiencing Precious Bivings in person, she is just as dynamic on screen as she is in person. She's instant in season and out of season. I can tell you I'm a part of the MASH, the MASH Collective community, and she shows up like this often for her community. So how can we learn more about MASHCon? Coach
sure. If somebody could type it in the comments as well, you go to mashconatl.com. That's MASHCONATL.com. And your information is there. And you can register for MASHCon early bird. It says it ends on June 1st. We're considering extending that. But because we don't know, I would say make that move right now, baby.
I love it. I love it. So go to mashconatl.com to learn more and get in there while you still can. Yes. And so you asked me what I'm up to, what we're doing. I'm super excited that on Monday, June 1st, we are starting our Woke Women's Book Club.
Yes.
And listen to me when I tell you there are 91 women in this book club right now who are unapologetically rediscovering, reclaiming, and discussing powerful literary works written by and for Black people. And so I encourage you, if you consider yourself a woke woman, all right, go ahead and go to thinklikeathoughtleader.com/woke women's book club to sign up. Again, we're kicking off on June 1st. Our first literary selection is going to be none other than Octavia Butler's Parable of the Sower. And when I listen, Parable of the Sower is a life-changing book. I'm so excited to dive into this with my friend Krishna Davenport. She's also leading, she's co-leading this book club. And the reason why we chose the Parable of the Sower is because, first of all, once you start reading, we guarantee that you're not going to want to stop. But the late Octavia Butler is known as one of the most prolific sci-fi and fiction writers of our time. Parable of the Sower was first published in 1993, and given everything that's happened right now in 2020, it still feels fresh, relevant, and eerily accurate. As a matter of fact, you know, it just makes so much sense to start with this because this phenomenal literary work is feels more prophetic than fantasy and more accurate than fictional. So go to thinklikeathoughtleader.com/woke women's book club to join. Right now, it's only for Black women, but we might open it up to the brothers. We might open up to the brothers eventually. We're creating a safe space for us to have some serious conversations around some of these literary works, because I believe that not only are readers leaders, but reading is liberation.
Absolutely.
So join us.
Yes.
And we're just so excited to get started. The other thing that I'm really excited about now is that we have an opportunity for those who want to monetarily support the Think Like a Thought Leader show. You can go to thinklikeathoughtleader.com to
Beautiful.
become a patron for as little as $5 a month. Now, this is in a larger effort to create programming that centers the voices of Black thought leaders and entrepreneurs, elevates the consciousness, stirs the souls, moves the masses, and builds generational wealth and the legacies of Black people through entrepreneurship and media. And this larger effort is called Black Market Multimedia. I founded it. It's my baby. And I am so excited about this. And so in an effort to stay true to our vision and remain unbossed and unapologetic, I get to say what I want with my chest. My guests, my amazing Black thought leaders get to do the same. We have created an opportunity for you to for those who enjoy this transformational content to support us, because all meaningful work costs something. This ain't free, y'all. Creating a multimedia company requires not only monetary resources, but also countless hours of emotional, intellectual, spiritual, and physical labor. And so your monetary investment will help build a groundbreaking company that will shift paradigms and empower a generation of leaders and entrepreneurs with powerful programming and high quality content. So we need help. For as little as $5 a month, you can invest in a network dedicated to creating uplift and enrichment of our people, Black people, through media and entrepreneurship. I thank you in advance for helping us again to stay unbought, unbossed, and unapologetic. For as little as $5 a month, go to thinklikeathoughtleader.com, scroll to the very bottom of that page and hit that button called Let's Build. And I thank you in advance. Precious, thank you so much for stopping by the show. I love this conversation. Given the comments that we have here, we can see that so many people got so much out of it. We're going to be sharing this replay all weekend because these healing conversations not only need to be had, but they need to be heard. So again, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Take care, y'all. Stay well. Peace and power. Bye.